And hello. I just looped the loop on the looper, on the new Ditto 2, which is what this video is about. Short recap of the Dittos. I think the Ditto, and I might be completely wrong about this, is the first looper that used the whole I only have one button idea. Now, I've been exposed to loopers since the early 90s because my former teacher, Kuno Wagner, was huge on looping, did the European Loop Project, sampler CDs with different people doing loops, a lot of them doing stuff on Chapman sticks and war guitars and ambient tapping stuff. And back then, like a 5 or 10 second looper was €3,000. It had one loop. I don't even know if it had overdub. And they were rack-based and they're super expensive. And if you wanted to add a couple seconds more, you had to buy more RAM for a lot of money. Times were crazy. Later on came the boomerangs and the more complex loopers. But then at some point, I think it might have been TC that came up with the Ditto, which we have on the floor in the middle there. It's that little thing right here. And it was pretty damn simple. Was that the Mini or was it always that small? She said to him. So the whole idea of you click once and it records. You click again and it plays. You double click and it stops. You hold and it erases. That permeated into the whole looper pedal world. And so everyone and their mom has a looper that now functions like that. It's just the way that we understand looper pedals now. And I think that's because of TC. I might be wrong. If someone else came up with it, please correct me. Now TC then released the Ditto, I don't know what came next. The Ditto X2 maybe, which we have an extra camera on over there. That's the one on the right. And that had effects like half speed and reverse and stuff like this. You know, the fun looper things, and could even, I think, store a loop, which could be relatively important. And then came, I think, the stereo looper, the stereo Ditto, which is on the floor over there, which is actually the one that's usually on this pedal board. Not because I need stereo, but because, I don't know, it's the one I have on there. Then we had the X4. Big ass thing, 2 different loops, independent, but you could also stack them and loads of things and then tape stop effects and only play once and reverse and, you know, more options. But I think the original beauty of the Ditto was its simplicity. Then they came up with the Ditto Jam, which was freaking brilliant. So the Ditto Jam over there, also Ditto X2 looper, same idea. You could switch between record dub play or record play dub, blah, blah, blah. But it actually has a built-in microphone, and you could also connect a microphone to it to put on a snare drum. Why? Well, because it actually, once you played the loop, played along with your band. It was supposed to be it is a band tool. So as your band went slower, the loop somehow magically also became slower. It took a kind of a tap input from a snare or a mic or whatever you were playing and adjusted the loop tempo. Pretty freaking brilliant, and I haven't seen anyone else even attempt this. And it worked. And then what I absolutely loved, the Ditto Plus, that's what it's called, has a screen on it. It's this tiny thing here, and it actually stores 99 loops, which is pretty damn brilliant. I mean, the way that you get around is with the 2 little push buttons, left and right and left and right. But it allows you to record ideas and just shove them away, come back, use that idea, or use those ideas during a gig. I used it really as a DI solution to record things for videos, and then I could recall that riff later on. Made a lot of sense. Now, the look has changed a bit. The corners have been tightened a bit. They're a little bit sharper. And we have Bluetooth connectivity, and we have a snap function. Well, first, before we can do any of that, we got to take it out of the box. Let's go. So what is the snap function? It is meant to make your loop perfectly loopable so that it's seamless even when you're not hitting it at the right spot. So on the side, you have a switch to go to standard Ditto mode or a user mode, and that user mode allows you to go into single loop, which is really simple and, it can be a different kind of a effective looping method, and turn the snap on and off. The app connects very easily. So before we go into actually using it, let me show you what the lights mean and what the two different functions are, and also the app. That way you're prepared for what's coming. Okay, let's take a quick look at the app and the operating modes. It's much easier to do this on the table instead of having my big ass shoe on top of it. So at the side, you just click up pair. The app will find it very quickly. When you're at the bottom, you're in Ditto mode. That's the normal mode that it always has. And in the middle, you're in user. That will be whatever you set up here. Of course, you can turn the snap feature on and off as we are exploring. But the interesting thing is how the whole thing works in terms of the cycling of the foot switch, which has a very interesting click, as I already mentioned. It's white now, which means it is clear. You hit record, it'll record. You hit it again, it'll play. Once you hit it again, your loop is gone and it is cleared. So that's the very simple single tap looping. You're recording a quick phrase, you're stopping it, your phrase is gone. Record, phrase, play, phrase, stop phrase and erase at the same time. Very, very simple and might be totally fine for some users. Now in Ditto looping, you're recording, red. You're playing, green. You're overdubbing, and you're playing again. You don't like the overdub, hold. Goes back to play, the overdub is erased. You're overdubbing. You did it right, good. We're overdubbing the third layer. Back to play, damn it, I made a mistake. Hold it, overdub is now erased. Of course, only the new one, I assume. To stop, double click. Shows you in yellow or orange that it is stopped, but there is a loop stored. Otherwise, it would be white. Click, your loop is playing. Double click, it is stopped, but the loop is there. If you now want to erase, hold. One of the little problems, which this one clearly does as well, when you're erasing by holding, it will quickly go into play. I'm showing you this again. So play, record, play, stop. I hold to erase, and you can see that for a very quick second, it'll start playing the loop. That's a bit annoying. See, bam. But that is just how the thing works. Other than that, there's a setup here. You can update, you can add a device. You can clearly see that this was connected, and it connected very, very quickly. Not a lot to do here, but you're just setting it up the way that you want it. Not that much to set up. So when you're in user, it could be in single tap mode. And then we go, let's try this. So I'm going to put this in single tap mode with loop snap on. And now I go into Ditto. See, it behaves like the Ditto. I go into user, and that should now be single tap looping. You can set up user with or without loop snap, or you could have the user, the Ditto looping with loop snap, then in Ditto mode it is without. So very simple, but the options are totally there. Back to me. Okay, as you just learned, yellow means we have a loop stored and can recall it. I'm going through my pedal board into the looper. So always the question from people on my channel is, where do I put the looper? Ideally, you put it behind everything, behind distortion, whatever. Because if I now turn my amp, which is in this case the Synergy Syn 20 with a Fortin module, if I now pump this into there, the whole loop will be distorted, and you don't want that. So you want it behind everything before it hits the speaker. So ideally, it would be in the effects loop of the amp. Unless the amp, in my case, is clean, then it's all fine. But you want to be able to record your effects. You want to be able to record your delays and create beautiful ambiences and stuff like this, right? I can record this now. These shoes, by the way, I did not buy. Leslie bought them for me to make me look like an idiot. And here I am looking like an idiot. Double click, hold, and you just could hear what happens when you're erasing. When you're erasing and there's a loop stored, it will quickly play it because it thinks you're going into play mode. In a live situation, I think that can be rather annoying, but no way around it. That's just how they work. So I am in Ditto mode now, so I'm going to show you how that works. I've got a bit of delay from the Galaxy. This is, of course, a Sully Conspiracy series. Clocks in at about $14.99 in one of the finest import Korean guitars you can get. If you can get your hands on a Sully Conspiracy series, frickin' get one. They are insanely good. So let me just play a little loop here, so we're going to record. So very simple. If I wanted to erase the overdub, I have to be in play. And it's erased. If I'm not in play, the whole loop, of course, after it started playing. So that's the standard Ditto mode with the knob down. Now we're in single loop mode. So we're recording, we're playing, we're stopping. Simple, right? So. And done. So I'll quickly look into my app just to make sure that the snap is, yes, the snap is on. We're in single tap looping. So we should be able to hit it roughly when we want to hit it and still have a working loop. Let's try this with a very clear pattern, right? So I hit it after I was supposed to hit it. It didn't loop it right. So I don't quite know what's going on with the snap. I think what I've seen in videos is a great feature. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Hannah's got a looper, it's the TC Ditto. Ooh yeah. But the buttons and the lights got him feeling like a kiddo. Snap functions got him scratching his head. Oh no, what's this do? He's looking at the manual but still don't know. Hannon doesn't get it. Say what? No. Hannon doesn't get it. Ooh child. The loops keep jumping, the tracks keep running. Hannon doesn't get it, but he hundo, stop the whole show. Hand and presses random buttons just to see how it'll go. Loop stacks building up like a funky cake. Yummy. But now it's chaos, was that a mistake? Snap here, snap there, what's it snapping? Tell me now. Hannon's Googling the guide while the funk is still clapping. The rhythm's locked.
Guess I gotta call TC now.
1 hour later.
Okay, I had to stop the video because apparently I'm too good of a musician. Because I was trying to show you the snap feature, but it wasn't really doing anything. And then I had to call TC and say, why isn't it doing anything? And they're like, well, if you know how to use a looper and the loop's there, then you don't know. And then I was trying to be very imprecise and kind of hit it an eighth note too late. Well, it's not doing that. It's not snapping in that much. It will bring it to the right starting point within a margin of about 150 milliseconds, which means to show it to you, I'm going to have to be wrong by about 150 milliseconds. If I'm too wrong, I can't show it to you. We will try that, and we'll try it with the simple loop. Okay. I will recheck with the app to make sure that snap is on. Oh, another thing that I found out by calling TC. When you are stopping it from playing and then erasing, as I said, it will quickly play the loop, and that's annoying. But get this. If you are recording, playing, and now you want to erase it, and you double tap to stop, but then hold the second tap, it will immediately erase and you don't have the extra sound. So double tap, bam, that's the way to do it live. Okay, we have single tap looping, loop snap off. So let me do it, hopefully badly. Okay, that wasn't a perfect loop, and it didn't really snap it. So, gonna try this again. So now we have a not quite perfect loop, and by turning loop snap on, it does make it a bit more loopable. It's a very narrow plus minus around the tap 150 millisecond margin. I do feel it would be good if that was actually more. What it's of course doing is listening to your playing, using that kind of as a tap tempo, and then determining where it's supposed to be. I do think it should pull it in from a bit more because the margin that it fixes is very narrow. Okay, it did fix something, so let me try one more time. So yes, loop snap does work. However, I think it works in my current experience, very few circumstances. When you're just not perfect, and it kind of trims the transient, I think, of the beginning a little bit. So it does help to get a more perfect loop, but you have to be in the ballpark, let's put it that way. Other than that, I like the new look. I like the light, which is now clearer than just a normal LED. That helps. I think that's better. By it being higher up here versus the LED, which was further down, it's also not blocked by your foot that much, so you can see it while you're stomping, even though you have ridiculously big stomping shoes on. You know? I like the new foot switch, which is a weird kind of a soft, but it has some bounce to it. It's very hard to describe, but it's very cool. It's not a clicky anymore. It's a soft one, but it kind of pushes back a bit. Very, very nicely done. I like that you have the two modes. I like the now simple mode, and you can still go to the one with overdub. It's a Ditto. I don't know how much it is. It's likely not expensive, and they will likely implement that look, those new features, and the snappability into a new range of Ditto loopers. So if you're looking for stereo or whatever, or fours or whatever, there might be coming out at some point. That's a nice start. And you know what? I'm going to leave that on this board instead of the stereo because it's better. Okay. Ditto 2, now with snap feature, Bluetooth, 2 different modes, still a Ditto. Thank you, TC, for commissioning this video. I will link below. Please use the links, that really helps. And as always, we'll do animals at the end.
Blind.